Hello students, welcome to Audi Scholar classes. So today I will be taking up chapter 3 from class 10 science, that is metals and non-metals. So if we classify elements can be classified as metals, non-metals, on the basis of their properties. This classification is done on which basis? On the basis of their properties. Fine. So element can be classified on the basis of their properties as metals and non-metals. So today we will be speaking in detail about metals and non-metals. We will see the physical properties of metals and non-metals in this part 1. Okay? And other chemical properties and other reactions will be discussed in part 2. So metals have many properties. We will see that what are their physical properties. Okay? So now we will see the physical properties of matter. So the first physical property is that in pure state metals have a shining surface. What happens if you take a metal which is pure, so it is very shiny. So this property is called as metallic luster. Okay? So this shining property of a metal is called as metallic luster. So we can say that metallic luster is a property of a metal that describes the amount of light that reflects off the metals. That's why it gives its a shiny look. Okay? So here is an activity which we are going to do just to see the metallic luster property of a metal. So in this activity we will be taking some samples of iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium. Okay? And we will note the appearance of each sample. What we are so when we will note the appearance of each sample, after that we are going to clean the surface of each sample by rubbing them with a sandpaper, and we will note their appearance again. So what we are going to find that these iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium, when they are rubbed with sandpaper and when we note their appearance again, they become more shiny. After rubbing it with sandpaper, they are going to become more shiny. So this shows that iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium, they are metals and they have a metallic luster property. Okay? So now we will see the second property. The second property says that metals are generally hard. Okay? So the hardness of the metals varies from metal to metal. So metals are classified as they are hard. And these hardness depends upon a type of a metal. Some metal may be strongly hard. Some metals are soft, little bit hard. Okay? So it varies. It is not necessary that all the metals are going to be very hard. So we will also, for this also we are going to perform an activity. In this activity what we are going to do, we will take small pieces of iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium. Now what we are going to do, we will cut these metals with a sharp knife and note the observations. Okay, so this was the activity we are going to do. What we will see that when we try to cut these metals, that is iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium, we are unable to cut it. While Why is it so? Because these are metal and they are hard. So it is not possible to cut them since they are hard. Okay, now what we will do, in this only we will perform one more activity. We will hold a piece of sodium metal with a pair of tongs. Children, please remember that you should always handle sodium metal with care because it is not good, it is somewhat dangerous. That's why it is suggested that to hold the piece of sodium metal with a pair of tongs. Okay, so handle it with care. You can also dry it by pressing between the folds of a filter paper. Now after holding it with tongs, what we have to do, we have to put it into a watch glass. Okay, we need not to touch it by hand, we have to put it into the watch glass. And now we need to try to cut it with a knife again, as we have tried to cut iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium. What we will see, we can cut this sodium very easily with the knife. Unlike iron and copper, aluminum, these we could not cut, but we can cut this sodium with a very easily with a knife. So what does it show? If this sodium is not a metal? No, it is not there. Sodium is a metal, but it is a soft metal, so it can be cut easily with a knife. So iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium is also metal, as well as sodium is also metal, but sodium is a soft metal and it can be cut by knife, whereas these hard metals like iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium, they could not be cut by knife since they are hard. As I have told you that the hardness varies from metal to metal. So this hardness of a sodium is bit like little, that is it is a soft metal, whereas the other ones like iron, copper, aluminum and magnesium, they are very hard, so they can't be cut. Now the third property of a metal is that metal can be beaten into thin sheets. Okay, metal can be beaten into thin sheets and this property is called as metallability. Okay, this property is called as malleability. So what does it mean? If you beat a metal with a hammer, they are going to be in a thin sheet. Okay, for this we will again perform an activity. We will take pieces of iron, zinc, lead and copper. Now we will place any one metal on a block of iron and strike it 4 or 5 times with a hammer. Okay, we will take one by one each of the metal and we will keep it on a block of iron, and now we are going to hammer it 4 or 5 times. Okay, so we will be using any one metal, either zinc, lead, copper or iron, or you can do this experiment on all of them. Okay, so what we are going to see that these copper, iron, aluminum, or even you can see that these some nowadays there are so many metals used in the vessels. Okay, utensils are being made which we use in the kitchen also. We will be taking that example also. So what happens, these iron, copper, zinc and lead, they are fine to be made into a thin sheet. When they are hammered, they are made into a thin sheet. Because of this metallability property, these metals can be given a variety of shapes. Okay, so hence metals are used making various items like cooking utensils, car bodies, wardrobes, jewelries and etc. Okay, since they are we can beat it and make it into thin sheets, or we can give it a different shapes. This is the metallability property, so it can give some various shapes. Okay, so if we will talk now, we will be metallic utensils used daily in our houses. Okay? So the fourth property of a metal is that the ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires are called ductility. As we have seen that metals can be drawn into thin sheets, that was called as metallability, and the ability of metals to be drawn into thin wires is called ductility. Okay? So it means that metals can be drawn into thin sheets or thin wires. So now we can take the example is that if we talk about gold, gold is the most ductile metal. Okay? So if we take a wire of about 2 kilometer length can be drawn from 1 gram of gold. Okay? So gold is a very ductile metal. It is because of their, now what happens ki these metals are so, if you talk about gold or silver or any of these metals, they are so malleable and also ductile that metals can be given different shapes according to our need. So it is because of their malleability and ductibility that metals can be given different shapes according to the needs. Okay? And if one more thing I would like to tell you, if we see about the wires we are using, so iron, copper and aluminum wires are available which are being used at our homes also. Okay? So the fifth property of a metal is that metals are a good conductor of heat and they have a high melting points. Okay? So metals are good conductor of heat and they have a high melting points. So the best conductor of heat, if we talk about metals, the best conductor of heats are silver and copper. Okay? Lead and mercury are comparatively poor conductors of heat. So this conductivity of a metal varies metal to metal. Okay? So silver and copper are very good conductor of heat, whereas if we talk about lead and mercury, these are also metals but they are comparatively to the silver and copper, they are poor conductor of heat. Okay? So here we are going to perform an activity. We will take a aluminum or copper wire. Okay? Any metal wire we can take. So now we clamp this wire on a stand. Here in this figure you can see that there is a stand on which the metal wire is being clamped. Okay? So now we have to fix a pin to the free end of the wire using a wax. So you can see that the free end of a wire, there a pin has been fixed using a wax. Now what we have to do? We have to heat the wire with a burner. Downward you can see there is a burner, a yellow flame is there, and we need to heat the wire with a burner near the place where it is clamped. Okay? So what we are going to observe that when we are going to heat this metal wire, the metal wire becomes hot. Okay? These metal wires are going to become hot and therefore the wax present at the free end melts. Okay? The wax at the free end is going to melt and is going to fall down. And what happens is this pin also falls down because the pin was attached using a wax with a free end. So if the wax is going to melt, the pin is going to be detached from the metal wire. Okay? So this proves that metal is a good conductor of heat. If it would not have been good conductor, while burning, the heat would not have gone to the free ends. Okay? So this is a proof that metal is a good conductor of heat. But one more thing is there, the metal, the wire that is used, that is the metal wire, that is not going to melt, although despite it is going to attain a very high temperature, then also it is not going to melt. Okay? So this is because why it is not going to melt, why metal is not going to melt although if it attains a high temperature, it is because it is being a good conductor as well as it has a high melting point. So if it has a high melting point at high temperature also, it is not going to melt. Okay, so these metal wire of aluminum and copper, they are not going to melt. But there is an exception here. If we talk about metals, they are although a good conductor of heat and all the metals have a high melting point, but there is an exception with some metals, those who don't have a high melting point. So the example are gallium and cesium. If we talk about gallium and cesium, they have a very low melting points. Okay, so if we take them on our palm, they are going to melt. Now the sixth property of a metal is that metals are a good conductor of electricity. Okay, so here we are going to set up an electric circuit as shown in a figure. You can see in the figure that an electric circuit, there is a battery there and a bulb is connected, a switch is there and the clips for A and B are the point where the sample is to be tested. Okay, so there is a positive, negative, both points are there. So now we are going to place the metal to be tested in the circuits between terminal A and B. Okay, the metal we need to test about the conductivity of electricity is to be inserted between A and B. Now what does we see? Does the bulb glow and what does it indicate? So if, as we know that metals are good conductor of electricity, so when we are going to put a metal in between these clips, this metal is going to conduct electricity throughout this channel. So if a metal is a good conductor of electricity, the bulb is going to glow. So the answer is that, does the bulb glow? Yes, the bulb glow. This indicates that metal inserted between terminal A and B is a good conductor of electricity. Okay? So we all know that metals are an excellent conductor of electricity, and what happens and heat, okay, as I have already told you that it is in my previous slide I have told you that it is a good conductor of heat also and electricity. Okay, so metals are a good conductor of electricity as well as heat. Why this happens? This is because the atoms in the metal form a matrix. They are going to form a matrix, or what happens through which outer electrons can move freely. So the matrix is such that the outer electrons means the outer orbit, the electron present on the outer orbit is free to move. It can move easily. So instead of orbiting their respective atoms, they form a sea of electrons that surrounds the positive nuclei of the interacting metal oils. So these electrons which are present on the outer orbit that are free to move, they helps in a good conduction of electricity as well as good conduction of heat. Okay? So now we will see the eighth property of a metal. It says that metals are sonorous. So when they strike hard surface, they produce a sound. Okay? What is that? Metal has a property that it is sonorous. What does it mean? That it produces a sound. So what happens when a bell is stuck? The metal vibrates. Okay? So the vibration travels through the air as a sound wave. Now you must have seen at your school also when the bell the bell ringing. Okay? So in other words, we can say that these metals have delocalized electrons within their structure. The electrons of these metals are delocalized. So what happens when they are hit? When metal is hit, means their electrons are being hit. So the cloud of electrons move easily. Okay? In this there is a little energy also released, little energy being released in this process. So this allows the incoming kinetic energy to be propagated as a form of a wave, that is a sound wave. Okay? And hence sound is produced. Okay? Now the next property of a metal is that it is solid in state. Metals are generally solid in state. Okay? So metals are usually available in solid state at room temperature. If we talk about metal, they are solid in nature at room temperature. But there is an exception of mercury. Mercury is an exception as it is liquid at room temperature. So all the metals are solid at room temperature. Only mercury is a metal that is a liquid at room temperature. Okay? And if we talk about the melting of metal, as I have already told you, these metals have a high melting point, so they do not melt easily. But if we talk about two metals are there, that is cesium and gallium, are solids. They are although present in solid state, but they melt when they are kept in the palm because they have a low melting point. So if we take the cesium and gallium in our they are going to melt. Although the property of a metal is that they are solid as well as they have a high melting point. But there is an exception with these two. Okay? So this was all about the properties of a metal. We have seen that how metal is lusting in property, that it is shiny, it has a high melting point, high temperature, heat, good conductor of electricity and heat. Okay, so all these, it is always present in the solid state. Okay, we have seen the ductility, metabolity property of a metal. So all these we have seen. Now we will talk about non-metals. So if we talk about non-metals are very few as compared to metals. Okay, metals are more in number, whereas non-metals are very few. So some of the examples of non-metals are carbon is there. From the coal, if we talk about coal, so coal is also a non-metal. So coal can be a carbon or it can be a graphite. Okay? And then we talk about other non-metals, that is a sulfur is there, iodine is there, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. are these non-metals. Okay? So these non-metals are either solids or gaseous. So what we have seen that the metals are always in solid state, but non-metals are either solid or gaseous. Okay? Non-metals can be gaseous also, whereas the metals were only solid in state. But there is an exception, that is a bromine. It is although a non-metal, but it is liquid in state. If we talk about the state of a bromine, it is liquid. It is neither solid nor gas, but it's a non-metal. So non-metal also have physical properties like metal. Now we will see what are the physical properties of a non-metal. Okay? So here is an activity we will be doing. We will collect samples of carbon. Either we will take coal or a graphite, a sulfur and iodine. We will carry out some activities with these non-metals and record their observations. Now what we have to see that whether these non-metals, what are the properties of these non-metals. Okay, so we are taking carbon, sulfur surfaces they are having. So carbon is having a rough surface, sulfur is also having a rough surface. But what happens? Iodine is having a shiny surface. So as I have already told you, we have read that shiny surface was the property of a metal. So how can be a non-metal having a shiny property? So this is an exception because iodine is a non-metal, but it is luster in nature. Okay, like metals. Like metals, it is having luster in nature, but it is a non-metal. It is not a metal. Whereas other non-metals are rough at surface. Okay. Now if we will talk about the hardness, so like metals, we have seen that they are very hard. So these non-metals, they are not hard as metals. So carbon is a moderate hard, whereas sulfur and iodine are not hard. They are not hard like metals. Okay, but the hardness or moderation of non-metals also vary by different kinds of non-metals. Okay, now we are going to see the malleability. So neither carbon is malleable, nor sulfur, nor iodine, whereas we have seen it is just opposite of a metal. If we see about the metals, they are highly malleable. So these are also the difference. If you want to search the difference between metal and non-metal, the first one is that they are metals are. I will tell you about the difference afterwards. First, we will see the properties of these carbon, sulfur, and iodine. Okay. So if we talk about malleability, they are not malleable. Okay. Now we will see about ductility. So these are also not ductile, neither carbon nor sulfur, neither iodine. None of them are ductile. Okay. Now we will see the conduction of heat and electricity in these. Okay. If we see the conduction of heat and electricity, what we will see कि neither they conduct heat nor they conduct electricity. Okay. So conduction of heat and electricity in coal, sulfur, as well as in iodine, all the three do not conduct heat nor they conduct electricity. So we have seen that it neither conducts heat nor electricity. Now we will see the property of sonority. Okay. So if we see these metals are not sonority, means they do not have any sonorous property. Okay, sonorous property. So no sonority is there. Fine. So carbon, if we talk, carbon is a non-metal that exists in different forms. Okay, carbon is a non-metal that exists in different form. Each form is called as allotrope. Fine. And if we talk about diamond, it is an allotrope of a carbon only. Okay, so it is hard in natural substances and has a very high melting point. So what happens? It is hard also and it has a high melting point. This is a property of a metal. But although it is a property of a metal, diamond is a non-metal since it is a allotrope of a carbon. Fine. So being a high melting point, hardness and high boiling point, it is considered to be non-metal. Now if we talk about graphite, graphite is another allotrope of carbon and is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, but it is also not a metal since it is an allotrope of a carbon. It is also considered as a non-metal. Fine. And now if we talk about alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium, are very soft and they can be cut with a knife. As I have already told you, in an activity we have done in which we were able to cut sodium. So similarly, lithium and potassium, they are also soft. Whereas if we see the property of a metal, metals are hard. But unlike that property, it is soft. It can be cut by knife. They have a low density and low melting point, but they are considered as metal and they are alkali metals. Okay, so now we will see the difference between metal and non-metal. So if we talk about the type of surface metal has, so metal has a shiny surface, whereas non-metals have rough surfaces. Okay, we are talking about in general. We are not taking the exceptions here. Now if we talk about the hardness, metals are very hard, whereas these non-metals, they are moderate or they are non-hard. Now if we talk about the malleability character, so metals are highly malleable, whereas non-metals are not malleable. If we talk about ductility, metals are very ductile, whereas non-metals are not ductile. Okay, and if we see about the conduction of heat and electricity, so metals are a good conductor of heat and electricity, whereas non-metals are not a good conductor of heat nor a good conductor of electricity. And if we talk about the sonorous property, so metals are very sonorous, whereas non-metals are not sonorous. So this was the difference between metal and non-metal on the basis of their physical properties. Fine. So this was all for today. Here I finished the first part of metals and non-metals, in which we have discussed about the physical properties of a metal and non-metal, and also we have seen how metals and non-metals differ on the basis of their physical properties. Okay, so now here I would like to introduce you that now Only Scholar has developed its learning app also. You can go in Google Play and you can just download the e-learning solution app CS from there. This is a screenshot of the learning app. Here you can see that all the courses chapter wise, the notes are available, the videos are uploaded, and the MCQ questions are also there. That is, you can give the online test of all the chapters which you are reading.